So Ben Shapiro was asking his audience, where are the genocide people? The people who said it was all a genocide now that we have ended the conflict and brought peace to the Middle East. Ended the conflict. Ended the genocide? Is that really what happened? Did they end the genocide, folks? Talked about this on October the 11th. Secret clause in Israeli version of peace deal. Let's Bibi start bombing immediately. Israel Cats today. Hamas release of only 4 dead Israeli hostages. Failure to meet requirements. Calling for the continuation of the, what was that, Ben? Genocide. How you guys doing today, folks? Today is the 13th day of October 2025. What time is it? About 4:30 in the afternoon down here in a nice, kind of coolish Tampa, Florida. Was happy to see aid trucks being brought back into Gaza. Aid trucks that weren't, I don't know, bait for rabid fucking infidels from Florida, biker gangs being allowed to shoot and kill people in fucking Gaza because, I don't know, they're Muslim, they're brown. So that was nice to see. And I'm certainly hopeful that that continues. It started Sunday. More of them started coming in today. However, it's nowhere near what needs to be done. And we'll have to see. Some of us are severely skeptical that Israel will. This will be the if this is the first peace deal. If they live up to the arrangements in this peace deal, it'll be the first ever. Ever that they lived up to, without a doubt. I heard somebody on Katie Halper's show talking to John Mersheimer, which, by the way, I'll explain John Mersheimer in a few seconds. But she did mention the fact that, ever since the 1949 agreement, UN agreement, that set the green line. People misunderstand. People don't get that right. It is 1949. It wasn't 1948. They started in 1948, but the agreements, the two sides couldn't come together, so they did in 1949. It's not 1948. So kudos to her on that. She also pointed out that the land that the Nova Music Festival was held on. By the way, it was supposed to be 3 miles away, but the government pulled their permits there and forced them to do it there, right in front of where the fucking hole was going to be blown in the fence. That land is actually inside the original Green Line. So, all of it was Palestine at one point in time. Interesting. There's a video that I posted about the 1933 World's Fair, where the American Jewish Council and the American Zionist Federation or some shit wanted to participate and show off their culture, their history of culture. And you would think it was some kind of satire, but it wasn't. They had this big statue of fucking Moloch and Baal and Moloch. They had this guy dressed up like I guess some kind of Israeli religious figure, and he's holding a live child up in the air, and in the middle of the fucking chest of Moloch opens up this thing, and there's this light coming out, this orange flickering light that's supposed to look like a fire. It's supposed to be an oven. And this guy puts the living child on the thing, neatly puts him up in there, and it closes, and you can see his head looking around. They didn't, obviously, but it was a mock ceremonial human child sacrifice to Moloch. That was 1933. Jewish people were putting children in ovens. I mean, in Chicago in 1933. I mean, what the fuck, man? So, but go look at that. Go look at that John Mersheimer thing with Katie Halper. Mersheimer comes out and says they're talking about what did Israel know to start with, and Mersheimer gets his chance to talk, and I thought at first he was being sarcastic. I swear I thought he was being sarcastic. This is the guy who wrote The Lobby. As if no one knew about AIPAC at the time. But it created a stir. People talked about AIPAC and then hush hush again. And then 20 years go by, and here we are now. Or whatever, however long it was. But he really made his bones with that fucking book. I think it was a book. Excuse me. So he starts off talking about what did Israel know. And he says, according to him, there are 2 times that Israel was completely caught off guard. The Yom Kippur War, 73 was it? And then, of course, October 7th, 2023. Completely caught off guard. They had no idea it was coming. He says that. And the very next sentence, he says, they did know it was coming, but they just figured it was aspirational. They didn't really, because they couldn't understand, they couldn't comprehend the fact that maybe these guys would actually carry it out. The orcs on the other side of the fence would do it, in spite of the fact that the Watchtower girls, for the week and a half, 2 weeks before it happened at that very location, were saying they were the ones who watched, the IDF, the ones who watched the fucking videos, the most surveilled place on the planet. And they said, yeah, these guys are putting fucking motorcycles and guys with fucking guns and shit. They're building up over here. And they sent that up to the chain of command, and they were told to shut the fuck up. And the patrol that walks that stretch of fucking fence every fucking morning was told to take a break that very morning. Not to mention, as I said, the fucking Nova Music Festival, according to the guy who ran it, in Israeli media, for 2 days he was saying this, and they told him to shut the fuck up. But it was supposed to take place 3.5, 4 miles away, which would have been out of range for these guys. And they pulled their fucking permits there and told them they had to do it here 200 yards, 180 yards away from the fucking, where the breach took place. They told them exactly where they wanted them to do it. They put them in harm's way. And John Mersheimer says, oh, no, they didn't know anything about it. They were completely taken off guard. And then he says, they weren't taken off guard. They were told about it, but they didn't think it was true. Apparently they did. Apparently they knew exactly what was going to happen. And then he goes, believe it or not, this is John Mersheimer. This is on Katie Halper's show, and I didn't watch. I got so disgusted, but I should have watched the whole thing to see if Katie or this Susan person pushed back at all on him with this bullshit. I hope they did. But then he goes, and they were just so confused. That explains the 6 hours it took, according to the guy who ran the fucking Nova Music Festival, the 6 hours it took to get anybody into that fucking area to help them out. Any IDF resistance whatsoever. And then when they showed up, they just started attacking with Apache attack helicopters, firing 30mm rounds of incendiary bullets into everyone's cars as people were trying to escape. And John Mersheimer says, they were just so confused. That explains the 6 hours. I guess John didn't like being singled out by the fucking Hasbro and Mossad propagandists and all the fucking Zionists back when he wrote The Lobby. And so this time he made sure he's got his mind right. But yeah, John Mersheimer's trying to push off the idea that, trying to retcon the fucking idea that the facts that Israel knew it was going to happen and allowed it to happen. Because someone in the Bibi Netanyahu fucking sphere of influence, probably in his cabinet, probably one of the Smotrich or fucking Ben Gvir or any number of the other fucking rabid Zionists said, we could stop it pretty easily now that we know about it. However, let's not be hasty. I don't know. I would be shocked if this is the end of this. I know that Egypt, Turkey, Qatar, and fucking the United States have signed the finished, quote-unquote, finished deal, I guess. Israel and Hamas are absent from the signatures. You'd think they were the most important ones. Donald Trump is running around doing his victory tour in front of any fucking camera, asked any fucking question. The first thing he says is, well, Donald Trump has brought peace to the Middle East. It took 3,000 years. It's unfucking believable. Don't know how they're going to justify it. Don't know. There were two members of a left-leaning party in the Knesset who were, after Donald Trump was speaking, Trump was being heckled, by the way, by some of the fucking rabid Zionists who are pissed off that they're not still currently bombing fucking innocent civilians, women and children. But these two stood up and they were holding up a sign that said, "Recognize Palestine." Two. They were summarily dragged out of the fucking Knesset and beaten. I don't know if they were beaten, but I know they were dragged out of the Knesset. How dare you? Did you guys hear that Peter Thiel of Palantir fame gave a series of lectures in the last couple of months? Washington Post has some coverage of this, where he said you can't record it and you can't tell anybody about it, and made him sign a NDA on it, and just to watch it. And he's fucking gone batshit insane. He's saying that anybody who's thinking about regulating or doing anything to AI or big tech businesses is helping Satan bring about the fucking Antichrist. That's literally what he said. He said if you try to inhibit at all anything big tech bros are doing right now, and big tech is doing right now, including, I guess, putting the kibosh on these fucking data fucking plants that they have, these big data fucking factories that they have that are polluting, stealing all the water, running up electric bills for everybody in the country. These just as massive data farm things they're making, data centers for their AI, so they can make fucking AI slop YouTube videos. And of course, process all your information and sell it and commercialize it and monetize it and then use it against you. He said if anybody is opposed to that, then they're working basically for Satan, because according to him, without those data centers and and allowing big tech to do whatever it wants, then there'll be a one world government run by Satan, the Antichrist, and America will cease to exist. That's how fucking crazy he is. And this is the fucking Yarvin fucking, what's his name? What's his fucking name? Is that Carl Yarvin? What's his fucking name? I forget his fucking name. I can't remember shit anymore. This is this Yarvin guy's an acolyte of this Yarvin guy who said he's leaving the country, by the way, because Donald Trump isn't destroying the entire fucking government, every modicum of it. You know, I put up a video talking about something that I've mentioned for quite some time, years in fact, that their overall plan, and you can go back to the Comprehensive Immigration Reform of 2006, which was done by the Republicans, by the way. And you can find in there not only the something Hope Kids, what the fuck is that? Dreamers, the Dreamers thing with these fucking kids. But you can also find the vast majority of it is all about locking down the borders, doing away with the illegals who were here illegally, and then bringing them back in on an H-1B or an H-2B or whatever thing is, bringing them in as indentured servants to big business. And I told you for decades now, close to decades, I told you that the point of that would be that they would have no fucking rights. They would be a second-class citizen. They wouldn't even be ready. It would take them 3 to 5 years of servitude to whatever business sponsored them, where they couldn't complain, they couldn't go anywhere else, they couldn't look for better employment, they couldn't hold a fucking, try to hold a vote for a union. Fuck all that. They would have to take whatever they got and shut the fuck up and just work. And then after 3 to 5 years, then they could start the process of applying for a green card, which takes another 3 years. And during that 3 years, they're still indebted servants to the fucking sponsor business that brings them in. Turns out, I put a video up. You should watch it. It says the ICE raids are only half the story. This is a young woman who has now gotten her degree and serving various farm companies as a consultant. But how did she get involved in this anyway? She got involved in it by working as a fucking farmhand, picking fucking fruit, and doing that to pay for her college education. She did the job that they say white people won't fucking do in this country, and Americans won't do in this country. She did it. She's white. She's a woman. As long as she makes a good point, the same point I've made for going on decades now, if farms paid people a good living wage, then of course they would find people to do the work. But the left like to say, well, it's just people are too lazy. White people and Americans are just too fucking lazy, which is bullshit. Just absolute bullshit. The point she's trying to make was that she sees these companies, these farm companies, these big agribusiness companies, and some mid-sized ones, bringing in waves and waves of H-2B or whatever it is, the farm workers ones, to take the place of the people who were here illegally, who are being rounded up and taken out. This is exactly what was called for in the 2006 Comprehensive Immigration Reform. The problem is, because it's so toxic, Comprehensive Immigration Reform was never passed. So this is just shit being done. They say, fuck it, we don't need fucking legislation to do it because we have Trumpy Bear. Now, they've been doing it since before Trumpy Bear, but there were major reforms that looked after these people and forced big business to treat them well, and even prosecuted cases. In 2022, I think there was a case with picking onions in the South. They were literally using slaves. They literally had them locked in, using them as slave labor, not paying them anything, threatening them if they left. They know everything about them from Mexico or Peru, wherever they came from, and they got people down there. They'll fucking take out their families. This happens. It's happening today. Go watch that fucking video. It's on my website. You can't miss it. If you see this video a couple days from now and this stuff, just pull up on the right hand side, Comprehensive Immigration Reform. You'll find it. It's right there. Unbelievable shit. But again, I've been talking about this for a very long period of time. And that's what this is. That's part of what ICE is doing. Part of what ICE is doing. And you're like, well, he's getting rid of people, day laborers and this and that and the other. Yes, they're trying to create a crisis. If they create a crisis and the price of food goes up, everything they do is to generate a fucking economic crisis in the United States. And the price of food goes up, then what are they going to do? There's a crisis. We got to do something. Well, let's fix the H-2B thing and let's just open up the fucking floodgates. But they're going to know who they are. They're not illegals. And they'll be assigned to a corporation. And they have to work for that corporation. They had a minimum wage imposed by the Biden administration on these programs, which was supposedly tied to the minimum wage that workers in the area would receive, were they able to get workers in the area. Of course, they're not placing any ads for workers in the area for those jobs. And so they came to, I think it's on average across the country, $16.25. And that was 2024. So that's what they said. You'll set it per state what that minimum wage would be. Donald Trump has signed a thing saying you haven't got to worry about that anymore. Big business. You can do whatever the fuck you want with your slaves. I tell you that so I can tell you this. Everything they're doing and everything I've been talking about for years and years, everything they're fucking doing is because they hate this country and the way this country's constitution is written and the way the Bill of Rights is written and the way the laws are written and the way the regulations are written. What they want is a country like United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia. Monarchy. Curtis Yarvin. That's what Curtis Yarvin, he's a monarchist. He's a monarchist. He thinks there should be a dictator, a glorious dictator, to rule the fucking country like they have in these countries and in other fucking Middle Eastern countries. That's what they want. That's what they fucking want. They say Muslims are evil and this, that, and the other, and yet these very same people who are talking about the Antichrist and trying to suck up to the Christian right, the system that they want is a system run by fucking Muslims and Arabs. with monarchies. They want those because they have slavery. They do. They have legalized fucking slavery. You can beat people with fucking reeds. You can beat your employees with reeds. Imagine how happy they would be. Imagine how happy Elon Musk would be beating somebody with a fucking reed while zig-heiling across the fucking street. This is not a joke. This is not a fucking joke. This is what these people want. That's why they hate your country. Because your country has protections. That's why they really hate the New Deal. But that's why they hate your country. Because your country has protections built in. They don't want any fucking protections for you. Because they want to take everything they can. Just take and fucking take. So they can be as rich as the pharaohs. As rich as the House of Saud. Let's take a quick peek at some of today's news. So I told you about that 2 days ago. And we have this. Okay? That's the clause. That's the failure to meet the requirements. So, that's what he's suggesting. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said in response to Hamas's announcement that it would hand over the remains of 4 Israeli captives that the move is a failure to meet requirements. Any delay or deliberative orders will be considered a gross violation of the agreement and will be responded to accordingly. I've told you before, they fucking knew they have been removing bodies in the fucking rubble that they created. The idea of killed several of the hostages, several of them, not just the 4 that were walking across the thing holding up flags saying we're Israeli. They killed several of the hostages by bombing fucking buildings and apartment buildings that they were staying in. They were being kept in. And of course, because they came flying in there with drones and fucking quadcopters and fucking helicopters shooting them, they had to leave. So, and that rubble is now gone. Along with it are the bodies of these hostages. Well, Israel took that stuff, put it in with big bulldozers and put it in fucking trucks and drove it into Israel. And they sifted through it and undoubtedly found the bodies. I guarantee you they found the bodies. But did they tell anybody? No. Why? Well, John Mersheimer would say, he would have you believe, it's just a mistake. They never dealt with a body before. Of course, that's John Mersheimer being a fucking liar and a sycophant for fucking Israel. But in reality, they did that because they knew maybe if they didn't return the bodies. So they knew from the start. That's why Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner wrote into the Hebrew version, no other version of the contract, just the Hebrew version, that if they don't return all the bodies, then of course that means they can keep bombing. So that's what they're doing. That's what Israel Katz, the Israeli Defense Minister, is talking about. This is interesting. This is from El Mayadeen English, based on a report from Dropsite News. I don't know why they didn't put a fucking link to that. Nope. Dropsite published on Monday a gruesome report revealing that Israeli forces carried out a sweeping campaign of arson in Gaza City immediately after Donald Trump announced that both the resistance and Israel had agreed to a ceasefire. According to the investigation, the Israeli army set fire to homes, public buildings, and vital infrastructure, including the Sheikh Ajin sewage treatment plant, Gaza City's last functioning sanitation facility, just hours after the ceasefire was declared. These are just the most moral army in the world. They'll tell you that, staring you in the eyes to see if just to show you that, you know, I'm not moving my eyes. I'm not moving my eyes. I'm going to tell you that right now, not moving my eyes without laughing. RT. Of course, West Jerusalem has accused Hamas of a blatant breach of Gaza ceasefire as only 4 of the 28 bodies of the deceased Israelis have been resumed. That's the same article. It's a different article. It's Middle East Eye. So there's a confirmation. This is from RT. I told you about this. 2 Israeli deputies urged Palestinian recognition during Trump's speech. I will pull that up so you can see the image of them holding it up. I don't know what CookieBot is. Goodbye. Recognize Palestine. And of course, they were dragged away. Footage showed Ayman Odeh and Ofer Kassif, members of the left-wing Hadash party, being removed from the Knesset plenum after raising a paper banner reading, "Recognize Palestine." Just so you know. Good God. Fuck you people. Palestinian abductees, all living Israeli captives, released as part of the ceasefire deal. That's good. That finished up today. Did Israel let October the 7th happen? John Mearsheimer and Susan. Susan was the one who mentioned, this is Susan, and she's the one who talked about the fact that it's the 1949 agreement, not the 1948 agreement. Good for her. She's fucking far more educated than I am. However, I do know it's 1949, not the 1948 agreement. John Mearsheimer is full of shit. He admits that lower-level people saw it coming, but claims the upper leadership did not. Then he contradicts himself by saying in the next sentence that they did know about it, but disregarded it as merely aspirational, which is Bibi Netanyahu's bullshit line. The truth is, of course, they knew it was coming. They held a meeting talking about it, and almost certainly one of the psychos in Bibi's cabinet said out loud, "Well, what if we just let it happen? And then we use it to finally do away with the two-state solution and springboard onward to greater Israel." This is absolutely what any sane, rational man would conclude in Mearsheimer's position, but he doesn't. Makes one wonder why. Why doesn't she put Mearsheimer's image on the thumbnail? I guess she did, in a way. Good for you, Katie. This is a good video. Now, the question here is, he's going to mention, this is C.J. Rollman, and he's going to mention the fact that what I've been saying for a while is that they never live up to any agreement, ever. They've never, ever lived up to any agreement, and they won't start now. They can't start now. If they do, the Greater Israel Project is forever done, will never come back, and Bibi Netanyahu is going to be arrested. The Zionists, the ultra-Zionists are out of power. Likud is out of power. Smotrich is out of power. Ben-Gvir is out of power. So what's easier? Give up all that and say, "Oh well, we failed at the Greater Israel Project. We even failed to put an end to that whole two-state thing," or a fucking false flag terror attack, like they did in 1994 in fucking the United Kingdom against their own fucking embassy, and plenty of other examples. That's just one example. One of them brings up in that video. It's a good fucking video. It's worth your time. Have a look. There's no way in hell that they are going to. This is the end of it. That Ben Shapiro says, "Oh, so we brought an end to it." Yeah, right. Quick thing, I mentioned Whitney Webb and Glenn Beck. Whitney has done, Lord God, Whitney has done yet another interview with Glenn Beck, a guy who I called out recently. Let me see what I did on him recently. Let me see. I called him out recently. Do I have a Glenn Beck? I've got so many things here now. It's going to stop in a few seconds. It's just, it's too many. I know I have Glenn Beck. Well, that's a long time ago. Oh, Glenn Beck's Islamophobia. There you go. So there we go. I did put a thing up there on Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck's Islamophobia with H3H3. Yeah. Yeah, Glenn Beck is a piece of shit. He's been a piece of shit. He's still a piece of shit. I hope he brought out the fucking. I hope he brought out the fucking chalkboard with old fucking Whitney. She did a thing with him, and you can find it on Glenn Beck's fucking YouTube channel. I'm not going to give you a link to it. And during it, BB saw it and gave me some notes on it. They mentioned all kinds of shit. They mentioned fucking Jeffrey Epstein, but failed to mention Donald Trump. Believe it or not, I don't know if I should have asked her if they talked about the fact that Donald Trump just pretended he didn't know who fucking Ghislaine Maxwell was, and said, "Well, he'll have to have a look. He'll have to take a look." They say, "You know who Ghislaine Maxwell is? We're hearing that there's a possibility you're considering giving her a full fucking pardon." He's like, "Well, I don't know." They're like, she was convicted of child sex trafficking, like 20 counts. Well, I don't know. I'll have to have the DOJ look at it, but I give all kinds of people pardons. Ghislaine fucking Max. So he's going to give him a pardon. I wonder if they failed to mention that shit with fucking Trumpite fucking Glenn Beck and sellout fucking Zionist Glenn Beck. Did Whitney? No. Apparently not. She was too busy rehashing old fucking propaganda about fucking China. Saying China doesn't let fucking, China's not letting the fucking people buy cars, and you can't buy a car in fucking, you gotta share fucking cars in China. So I pulled up, China has the most fucking car ownership in the world. Private car ownership in the world, 416 million or something for every country, for any country. 416 million. No, 300. No. Anyway, about 30 million more than we do in terms of private car ownership in 2024, which was up, by the way. Private car ownership is up. And of course, they make the best fucking electric cars in the world, which you can't buy here, because if you could buy it here, which is half the price of a fucking Elon Musk piece of shit. Elon Musk's piece of shit company would go clean out of business. So there you go. But she's just, I don't know whatever happened to Whitney Webb. I really don't. She's just gone full on fucking Ayn Rand fucking fascist. Which is, it's unfortunate, I remember talking to her 4 years ago. I had her on for 2 or 3 interviews. It's still on BitChute, still my most viewed BitChute video. It was a long time ago. Back then, nobody knew who she was. And not that I had anything to do with it. I mean, it was my small little fucking channel. But, she's made a name for herself, and I'm happy she's made a name for herself. But unfortunately, she's made the wrong name. She signed on with the fucking Steve Bannon fucking hate on China fucking group, whatever that fucking thing is called. Committee for the Present Danger China, which was a remake of the Committee on the Present Danger Russia back in the fucking day of the Soviet Union back in the day. She's just signed on with these fucking China haters. And I'm just, I don't know what she's doing. God bless her. This is the video of this Moloch Ball ceremony from Soldier Field, 1933 in Chicago, World Fair. You can go watch that. That's some elusive truths And you can pull up all kinds of articles and shit on it to find you, to see that they're not making up bullshit. This is Farm to Tabor, and this is the young woman I was telling you about. ICE raids are only half the story. I added the other half, is slavery. I've been talking about this for a while. Project 2025 fascists have been working on creating a crisis via the ICE raids for a while now, with the manufactured crisis being no one to do these jobs means the industries are going to shut down. This allows for big business to buy up smaller farms and industries at wholesale prices, but it also allows for Trumpy Bear and Russell Vogt to try to impose a new kind of employment arrangement for his friends in big business, something similar to what the UAE and Saudi Arabia and a number of other Middle Eastern countries use: slavery. You see, they hate our system of government because laws and regulations prevent the best and most profitable business model, which is slavery. So they're trying their best to do away with all of that, allowing for indentured servants paid near slave labor, slave wages, to be imported into the country and basically sold to big business. It's already happening. It was a feature of the 2006 comprehensive immigration reform cooked up by neocons and the DLC Dems. And I've been talking about it for quite a while now, and here's someone else who sees it for what it is. I'd certainly recommend going and taking a look at that. Russia accuses U.S. of planning a coup in Venezuela. At the same time, the Nords have decided to give the crazy fucking opposition leader in fucking Venezuela a Nobel Prize for calling for Israel to use Mossad to set shit on fire in Venezuela and create a fucking color revolution, which would kill thousands upon thousands. She's then called for, when that was, we don't do that, says Mossad. We just get the U.S. to do that. Then she called on Donald Trump to bomb the shit out of her own fucking country for freedom and democracy. And that, somehow or another, equates to a Nobel Peace Prize for this person. Every single fucking Venezuelan election, you have a flood of election fucking observers come in from all over the world, just like they do in Russia, just like they do anywhere that we go, oh my God, they're a dictatorship. Turns out they didn't steal the election. The people of the country like Maduro. They like the country as it is now, even with the sanctions, even with Donald Trump bombing fucking fishermen off the coast of fucking Venezuela, which, by the way, is a war crime. And in a decent fucking human fucking, in a decent system, a decent country run by humans, the people who did that would be in prison right now. But we don't live in a decent system because Peter Thiel, fucking close friend of Donald Trump, thinks that Greta Thunberg is an agent of Satan. If I could, I would print out a fucking Nobel Peace Prize, a map of Norway, and an image of a Nobel Peace Prize sitting on top of it, and I would take it in the backyard and take a shit on it. I ain't got no ink in my printer. Of course, I said they gave Barack Obama a Nobel Peace Prize as cover when he bombed Yemen in December of 2009, early December 2000, well, December 19th or so, killing 23 children with cruise missiles. He was trying to kill the Houthis because the Houthis were in the process of trying to overthrow our fucking puppet dictator, Saleh, who had been in place for 30 years and had people in Yemen, the poorest people, literally in the Middle East. I mean, just poverty, slave wages. And people were sick of it. The Houthis were sick of it. And the Yemenis were sick of it. And they were they were protesting, they were doing this shit. The Houthis were threatening to fucking take over. So President Peace Prize authorized a fucking cruise missile strike, missed who they were trying to kill, just like when Israel attacked the peace negotiators, the peace group from Hamas in Qatar. They missed the people who they're trying to kill, but they did kill Barack Obama did kill 23 children. So you give him a peace prize. It's fucking sick. It's the Nobel Peace Prize. The Nobel Committee they're just sick. They're just paid for. They just stand around with their hands out like this, waiting to see who fills it up first. She said, when she accepted the award, as if that's meaningful at all anymore. She accepted the quote-unquote award, and she said, I dedicate this to two people, to two groups, to Donald Trump for bombing fishermen off the coast of Venezuela, for allowing genocide to continue to go on for the first 9 months of his presidency. And he's going to continue to allow it to go on. And the good people in Venezuela who want regime change, who want another country to come into their country, to bomb the shit out of their country, and impose a leader who will be beholden to their national interests. That is literally a traitor. That is a traitor. We'll see what happens in Gaza. I do not have any faith, obviously, and there are other things happening right now, but I do not have any faith that this will hold. I have no faith in that this will hold whatsoever, and we'll see. I'll do a video tomorrow, and I'll let you know how it's going. But again, I hope. What I hope is that Donald Trump has come to the understanding that he doesn't have to deal with Israel. He could deal with fucking Palestinian Authority. He could deal with fucking Hamas. He could deal with fucking Saudi Arabia and Egypt and Turkey, and they could fucking rebuild fucking Gaza as Palestine, and he'd still make just as much fucking money as he would if it were fucking glorious Israel. He'd make more money. Because as Palestine, people would show up, people would go there to support them, people would go there to see the Palestinians rebuilding their fucking lives and help with their tourist dollars. People would do that. Will people do that with glorious Israel? With the fucking settlers? With that fucking crazy fucking woman, Weiss, whatever her fucking name is? No. You would immediately at work when you say, oh, where you going? Your vacation? Oh, I'm going to Gaza. Gaza, Israel. They might not say anything to you, but you ain't going to get no invites no more. And people figure it out. It's a lecherous thing that Israel has done. And, you know, I don't know of a single billionaire who's ever made a fucking clean fucking $1 billion. But this is a different level. This is a different fucking level. So maybe Trump has some fucking business advisor like Witkoff who's smarmy enough to be fucking saying, whispering in his ear, you know, it might be a better fucking return future if this land is still fucking Gaza, it's still fucking Palestine, as opposed to stolen land. Oh, it's Israel. Oh, it's glorious Israel. And then it'll sit there and they'll have all these employees standing around with no one showing up. No one showing up. So maybe Donald Trump has seen the light. Maybe the Saudis told him. Maybe the fucking Turkish told him. Maybe the fucking Egyptians told him. Maybe fucking Jared Kushner told him. Maybe that tiny little fucking Barron fucking kid told him. Because it should be kind of obvious when you think about it. It should be kind of obvious. I have my fingers crossed. I was at 5% on Sunday. No, Saturday? Saturday. So 5% on Saturday. I'm maybe at 6% today. Maybe. But we will see. We will see. We'll know once they, have a vote of no confidence, and they clear out the fucking Netanyahu and Likud and that whole fucking rabid bunch. But to be honest, that's not going to happen. Short of putting fucking blue helmets in there and physically moving the Israelis off. Short of that, I don't see it. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Have a good evening. I'm going to watch Washington play fucking Chicago this evening. Have a good one.